Well, this morning we continue our new sermon series titled Thrive. And over the next few weeks, we will look at some of the ways Christian faith and practice can help us not merely survive, but also to thrive. So when I think of thriving, it's that feeling of calm that comes after exhaling a deep, clean breath of air. This deep feeling of peace can be hard to find when we're in a state of overwhelm. You know, when real life challenges, great and small, are bearing down on us and everything just feels out of whack. We're too tired to sleep, too hungry, but we can't eat. It's just a feeling of emotional flooding and overwhelm. I think you probably have felt that before. Well, I witnessed a simple example of overwhelm with my goddaughter, Annie. She'd had a big day at camp, and she came home exhausted. And when her little brother failed to share some candy, as had been directed by the parents, Annie's sense of fairness had been crossed, and she started to melt down. Annie, who is naturally calm and collected, she was frustrated. She was overwhelmed. Her mother said to her, "Annie, you've had a full day. I think you're exhausted because you're taking things too hard. Why don't you just get into your PJs, get comfy, eat some dinner, and then rest?" You see, Mom didn't try to solve the problem between the siblings. Instead, she just provided a safe space, an environment, a place of safety where Annie could regain her calm. This parental wisdom echoes God's message to the prophet Elijah, that reading that we heard this morning. Elijah the prophet is distraught. He fears that evil queen Jezebel is about to have him executed. And he is so worried that he begs God to take his life first. Elijah is overwhelmed. He's in a state of extreme crisis and suffering. And as Charles said last week, we can connect to God's love more deeply when we meet suffering with the right attitude. So what then is the right attitude or practice that can help us in times of overwhelm and suffering? Well, I think God's simple and tender care for Elijah is instructive. It's life-giving. God provides Elijah with an opportunity to sleep, to rest, to eat, to have fresh, cleansing water, and therefore to regain his sense of calm. Our friend, Brother Paul, from the Abbey of Gethsemane, offers a practice for overwhelm. He calls it the art of pausing. It's a book that he has co-authored with two other writers. It's called Meditations for the Overworked and for the Overwhelmed. Brother Paul and these two authors reflect on everyday opportunities to find serenity and peace, like savoring a cup of coffee in the morning, or in worship, when we take a moment for silence and we just let go and enter that sacred space. Throughout all of the ages, contemplatives have taught us that silence is the most deepest form of prayer. Everyday pauses in life and in worship, they come by gift. And if we choose, we can stop and pay attention. Brother Paul's co-author, Judith Valente, reflects on the gift of pausing. She says when we honor the pauses offered daily in our lives, we share something in common with the indigenous people of Africa who periodically stop while traveling on safari. The tribe's people stop, they pause for this reason, to allow their souls time to catch up with their bodies while on their journey. It's both a time of rest and awakening. The author says sooner or later, we all need to let our souls catch up with the rest of our lives. And I think that's right. If we want to thrive and not just survive, we all need that deep exhale that allows our hearts to align with our breath, for our souls to catch up with our bodies. In times of overwhelm and in need, God meets us in the simple pauses of everyday life. Food, rest, good company, in worship. In a moment of overwhelm, God called Elijah to eat, to sleep, to rest, and ultimately to find and experience God's presence, not in the fire, not in the drama of the earthquake, not in the wind, but in sheer silence, in the still, small voice of calm, which is the very presence and love of God. You see, with God, surprisingly and miraculously, these simple gifts are enough. They are enough for us to thrive. So sooner or later, we all need to let our souls catch up with the rest of our lives. So I wonder, where will you practice the art of pausing this week and experience that still, small voice of calm? Amen.